It's my pleasure to talk to you, and please forgive me for my kind of bad English. In case I said any word like in the wrong way or wrong pronunciation, please forgive me for this before I start. My name is Flotilla. I am from Kuwait, and I'm 28 years old. And I was on the last convoy that went from London to Gaza. We spent exactly 34 days on the road from London to Gaza, and we spent at the end 34 hours in Gaza. This convoy contained around 519 people from all around the world, especially from Turkey, America, and from Europe. We were from more than 28 countries, and from the 519 people, there was only one Arabic girl, one pure Arabic girl, which was me. I'm from Kuwait, and we have only other around 50 people from Jordan, and this was the only two Arab countries that was represented in this convoy. It was to me a very special event or a very special action in my life because of one thing. I thought by me joining this convoy, I would do something big to help the people or the poor people in Gaza. But what happened, that as soon as I reached the place of gathering for all of us, I was standing in front of the bus, and there was a guy beside me. He was from South Africa, and he was trying to get an earrings from a Turkish girl. She wanted to give it to him, to give it to Gaza. She looked like a little bit of poor girl. She was like early 30s, and she had a very small gold earrings in her ears. She tried to take off the first one, she couldn't. So she took off the second one, she put it in his hands. But at this time, the bus driver started shouting that we have to leave now. So we went into the bus, and the South African guy, he just put his hands out, waiting the girl to give him the second pair of earrings. She couldn't take the earrings off, and then the bus started moving. So she started running after the bus, and she took the earrings. She took the earrings out from her ears. She cut her ears, and she put the second pair of earrings with the blood on this guy. I was so shocked when I thought that I wanted to do something big, and I realized that this girl is doing something much, much, much bigger from me. She cut a part of her body for the sake of Gaza, and she didn't mind. While this, two pieces of earrings, I don't think so that it will exceed $100 in cost. But because it was from out of her heart, when I talk to all my friends all around the world, from Australia or America or anywhere all around the world, they told me whenever we start a session to talk about Gaza, we have to talk about this young Turkish girl, because she touched everybody's heart. This was at the beginning. Then we moved to Gaza, and I told them this is the first time of my life to touch something I thought it's not real. All the time I hear in my life since I was young something called Palestine. But I have no chance to visit there. I have no chance to reach there. And all the people around me, my family, my friends, and maybe most of you, especially for Arabs, we can't reach this area. So the time I put my foot in Gaza, and I get a message on my mobile that you are welcome in the country of Palestine, I felt that dreams can be true one day. What happens that when on the first day, our group, mashallah, was a very, very brave group. We were a group of 15 people together, 7 girls and 8 boys. And we decided to sleep the first night in Gaza in a hospital. It was to me a very big shock because of one thing. Can you imagine? From each 10 people to reach the hospital to get treatment, only one will be treated. The other 9 people will go back to home with no treatment. Even for something very simple like asthma or fever sometimes, or something very simple. They don't have medicine for it. When you saw their faces leaving the hospital, like a young man who's carrying his father on his back, or a woman who's carrying her like a very small child between her hands, or a daughter who's helping her mother to walk to the hospital, or to walk out of the hospital with no medicine, you see the face full of tears, and they can do nothing. They can do nothing to help and support the people they really love. Even if it's like a very simple disease, they cannot even treat it. This was the first night, and it was very hard to me to see the situation that way. In Gaza, 80% of the people, they don't have jobs. That means 80% of the people, they don't have salary. That means 80% of the people, they cannot afford to buy the main things they need in life, like food, like drinks, education. They cannot support. They can't support even themselves. And like in each family, maybe you can find one person who works, and he has to pay for his brothers and their sons and their daughters. So it's a very, very hard situation, a very hard position. 1,600,000 people is living under siege without anybody thinking about them, with a small support of them. Like I remember one of the Ghaznawi girls, she was telling me, I one thing, if you think when you give us money or supporting us, you're only minimizing the loss. If we are per year losing hundreds souls because of no medicines available, when you give us 1 million, you might lose 99 souls only. If you give us 1 million, you might reduce the loss of education by 1 million only, but there's still a loss of other 99 million. Nobody is supporting it. So I thought before that when we started giving money to them, we did what we have to do. I realized it wasn't the reality at all. It's not about only us paying them money, only about us paying for them. We need to break the siege. We need to support these people and give life back to a living human. This was my first trip. My second trip was, this was five months ago, on January. My second trip was last week. We left Antalya in Turkey with a ship that contains 600 people heading from Antalya, Turkey to Gaza. 600 people in our ship from over 50 countries. We had around 38 Parliament MPs on board. We had 13 channels, full coverage on board. We had a lot of people who represent a charity, or I don't know what they call it in English, Flotilla. It's like supporting institutions on board with us. We left Antalya with a big hope that we will reach Gaza in 2 days. What happens when we were about 130 miles away of Gaza, of the Ghazawi border, of the Ghazawi sea border, we get attacked by more than 20 ships from the Israeli government, the Israeli Navy Army. 9 people were killed. More than 30 people were injured, severe injured. And we were captured, and we stayed in the ship for 21 hours. And they didn't allow us to leave out. And they captured us, and they asked us not to move, not to do anything for 21 hours. Then we reached the port of Asdod in Israel, and they asked us by force to go down from the ship for an investigation. We spent, each single person of us, 600 people, we spent 2 hours in investigation for each person. Then they took us to a prison, which we were treated very badly, very, very badly. And we spent there between day and 3 days, depends on the country. we were waiting for our ambassadors to come over. They didn't let anybody in till after a day and 5 hours. The ambassadors came in. We didn't know what's happening in the whole world before that. Nobody knows about us even, and we know so that nobody saw the reality. Then when the ambassadors come, especially the ambassadors from Europe, like from Belgium, from Italy, from Spain, from UK, from a lot of countries in Europe, they were telling us that the whole world is moving for the sake of the freedom flotilla.